What is going on, boys and girls, ladies and gents across the world? This is episode 30 of the Talkin ATL Hawks podcast. Of course, you've seen these faces for 30 episodes now, so you should know who we are. I'm your boy Andrew. It's not going to be, I don't know. I think it's going to be the same for you guys. So to the right, I got my brother Chase, and then down here, I got my boy Joyner. And as always, like we have the other 29 episodes, we will be bringing you guys some Talking ATL Hawks, Atlanta Hawks stuff on the Talking ATL Hawks podcast. A lot. Well, I say a lot to get into, and what I mean by that is we have at least two. I also have a trade proposal that I'm gonna bring up, but I know that there's another trade proposal about involving the Hawks and Trae Young that John wants to take a deep dive into, and then there was one that he sent in our group chat yesterday that involved a huge package for Trae Young. So we're going to get into those three trade talks, and I'm very excited about them because I feel very passionate about these trade talks, especially the one that Jordan sent yesterday, even though it's a little controversial.
That was Chase. That wasn't me.
I said the one about the Miami Heat.
Mine's about someone else. I'll get into it in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get into these trades in a little bit.
You sent that one yesterday, Chase?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was Joyner. I'm sorry. Okay, well, the one that Chase sent through. And then Joyner sent one today, and then I'm going to talk about one once them two dive into theirs.
So we all have one to talk about. We'll all three be presenting some potential trades. So, it's going to be a little interesting. I do want to give a sad update, though. My hopes and dreams are being crushed because I'm starting to realize that maybe the email that I got from the Philadelphia 76ers was probably automated and they didn't actually send that to me. And I think I'm starting to come to that realization and my hopes and dreams are getting crushed.
Chase, I hate to break it to you, but I've been knowing that for a while. I just didn't want to break your precious little heart.
Maybe a part of me also thought that, but I was just so excited that I fooled myself into believing this was real life.
But you know what, Chase? The first stage of acceptance is no.
It's denial. It's denial. Then it's grief. Then it's depression. Then it's acceptance. I think.
So you denied. You denied that it was an automated message, and now you're grieving the fact that you're wrong. So you're going to be depressed. Depression is coming for you, but don't worry, because after depression, it's
acceptance.
No. It's denial. It's anger. Then it's bargaining. Then it's depression. Then it's acceptance.
Oh, so you're going to get angry here in a minute?
Well, this is built up anger, Maybe I'm just sad about it, but next episode I might have a massive crash out.
There. And you know what?
Maybe at the end of this episode, I might end this episode with just a big crash out. And that'll be my anger face.
I appreciate for you letting us know ahead of time so that way we can just sit back and let you take it all out. You know what I mean?
Men's mental health matters.
It does. Absolutely. Men's mental health. Isn't that what? It's July?
No, it was May.
Yeah, it was May.
It already happened.
Maybe June 1st.
Shout out mental health.
Yeah. So since it's June, Chase, we no longer care about you. But moving on. I'm kidding. Moving on. We are going to start every episode, aside from talking about depression, about our start, bench, and cut. And guys, I've got something that I'm not going to lie, I'm a little shocked that we haven't brought up yet because it is a pretty big market when it comes to the game of basketball, especially when you're a star player. So I am going to be asking you guys to start, bench, cut my personal top 3 Trae Young shoes that he has worn in game. Because I think basketball shoes are the most important accessory
of
a player's drip. Oh yeah, I have pictures already. I'm ahead of the game, Chase. Don't you worry. But yeah, I believe that basketball shoes are the most important part of a player's accessory, and when it comes to their drip on the court. So, brought to you by Kicks. I'm kidding. This is not sponsored by Kicks, but I am using their website, and I am going to start. I'm going to go through the top 3 shoes that I have in mind, and then I'll ask you guys to start bench cut. Which one?
Well, hold on, man. Hold on, wait. It's got the stats on the opponent.
Oh yeah, so
heck yeah,
that's cool.
Don't pay too much attention to the stats. I'm just going based off looks.
Why not? That's a good stat line.
I guess
24 points, 9 assists against the Miami Heat. Like that's already a big plus.
Now, mind you, if you want to let that influence your decision, by all means, go for it. I will point out though that Trae Young has worn these shoes that I'm about to show you multiple times, but it's listing off his best performance in those shoes. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
But yeah, so these are in no particular order. I'll give you my start bench cut after y'all guys go. I'm just going to show you all the shoes. So first, I've got Trae Young's Adidas. Obviously, they're going to all be Adidas. The Trae Young 1 Ice edition. You know, Ice shape.
That's pronounced IC because it has the IC logo on it.
You're right. Thank you for correcting me on that stupidity. You're absolutely right. And as you can see, it fits the persona. You know, Trae Young, ice cold, ice Trae, and icy. They're pretty ice cold, or they're supposed to be ice cold, or otherwise it's not a proper icy. And it looks like an icy right there. So, gotta love those. Secondly, I gotta find them. Oh, right here. The Trae Young 1 Sunset, and you can see his stats right here. Almost posted a triple-double against the Lakers back in January of 22. Just 1 rebound shy. These are unreleased shoes, because these are shoes that only he's worn in game. And the third one, they're down here. The Trae Young 1 tie-dye. And these are, he had that 41-point game back in 22 of February against the Toronto Raptors. And so if you guys want me to scroll up to a particular shoe, just let me know. But you guys take the floor. I don't care which one goes first.
Joyner, do you have your list already? I think I have mine.
I know who I'm starting.
Okay. Do you want me to go first since I already have my full list?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I'll have you scroll to the shoes as I talk about them. I'll go ahead and I'll talk about who I'm cutting. I love all these shoes, by the way. I want to go ahead and give the disclaimer. So this is just so I'll list my reasoning behind these as well. I'm going to go ahead and cut.
Oh my goodness! I'm so sorry. Can I stop you in your tracks, Chase? I apologize. I forgot that I did not go the tie-dyes. I was going to go the tie-dyes, and then I cut them off my list. So let me scroll up to what
This could change everything.
It might change something. I'm sorry. I forgot that I second-guessed myself, took away the tie-dyes, and went with these bad boys up here. The Trae Young 1 Hawks.
That changes everything.
And this is his stat line. These are his best stats were in these shoes right here. But proceed. I'm sorry.
I got my list still. That absolutely changed everything though.
I figured it would.
So my cut stays the same actually. And I'm going to cut the Trae Young Sunset shoes.
Okay.
And reason being, I love the design. I love the concept of a sunset. I think he hits it pretty well. You know, starting with the red in the back, but then progressing into that bright yellow, just like a sunset. It's just orange isn't one of my favorite colors. And I don't think I would ever own an orange pair of shoes. I don't know. It's not. It's gorgeous. Like I love the concept behind them. That the concept's not the problem. It's just orange. You know, orange is. I don't really ever wear anything orange. It's just not my color. It's not my cup of tea. And I think I blame that a lot on the Florida Gators. And I like the Miami Hurricanes. Those are two of my least favorite, and the New York Mets. As you can see, like three of my least favorite teams in all sports.
And the Knicks. And the
New York Knicks. They all rock orange. I honestly think that's why I have such a strong resistment towards the color orange. So that being good.
I was gonna say, but Buddy was a rebounder in those shoes.
Oh, look, Trae Young's going to be a baller no matter what shoes he wears, you know. So I'm not going to let the stats influence my decision. That is why I'm cutting them. But now I think I'm going to bench the Hawk shoes.
Okay.
And actually, I said you cutting the tie-dye was going to change everything. It actually didn't. And my list kind of stays the same because I was going to do tie-dye at bench anyway for the Hawks. And I absolutely love these shoes because y'all already know that like my favorite Hawks jerseys and Hawks logo is the City Edition from a couple years ago that rocks the classic Atlanta Hawks logo across the chest. My favorite Hawks logo. I wish, oh my gosh, if the Hawks posted tomorrow that they're going back to that logo, I would be so ecstatic. And as you can see, the Hawks shoes resemble that classic Hawks logo. And it kind of does it in like a modern fashion. Like it has all the original Hawks colors, but it's kind of merged into kind of like, I guess a little bit of a Hawk form, like the black and the red. I think him having the yellow at the toe kind of resembles the beak. I think that's what he was going for. But I think you can tell, like, these are Hawks shoes. Like, when you see these, you think Atlanta Hawks. I think he knows that very well. I think the design itself is very cool, and that's why I'm all over these, which leads me to what I'm starting, and it is the icy shoes, and those are just absolutely beautiful. I am a sucker, just like you, Angie, for baby blue shoes. I think just the fact that it's icy and Trae Young is ice Trae Young. I just think that the two and two go hand in hand. So not only is the shoe beautiful, not only is the color beautiful, but it's just the concept and the idea behind it, having the icy logo on the back, and just knowing that it doesn't just represent IC, it represents Trae Young as well. And I would rock those every day of my life.
All right, Jordan.
So that's my list.
So I'm gonna go sort of opposite of Chase. I'm gonna cut these shoes.
Okay.
What? The ices? You're getting rid of the ices?
Yeah.
Let's hear him out.
Okay. The design is nice and the stat line you dropped him in is pretty sick, but I mean, it's not my cup of tea, you know. It's not. It kind of reminds me of the Chicago flag, and there's a certain NFL team from Chicago that I don't like.
I see.
So
you are a Packers fan, so I guess if Chase is going to use his hatred for the color orange as his argument, I guess I have to accept your argument.
I can understand that.
And so I'm going to bench the Hawk shoes as well. So I'm starting the sunset.
Wow, love to the sunset. Okay.
So Jordan quite literally had like a complete like flip. Like his is just backwards of mine. Yeah.
Like I just think that it's like a beautiful like concept. Sunset, sunrise, shoe concept just fits like. It's just so beautiful to me. Even though he's a Phoenix Suns player, it doesn't quite honestly work because he doesn't play for Phoenix. It's still a beautiful shoe, in my opinion.
I completely agree.
Oddly enough, though, even though you may not think about it as like, oh, it's an orange, red, yellowish shoe all mixed together, paneled out throughout from the back to the toe. You might not, for face value, think that shoe could go with anything, but I think this shoe in particular will look good on every single jersey that you ever wear. It's got that tone to it. It's got that because it's like Chase explained earlier, from back to the toe, it's quite literally the panel of a sunset, and that's just a very creative idea, and I like it from a guy like Trae Young who plays for the Hawks. You might expect it from a guy who plays on the Phoenix Suns, and it'll work best on the Phoenix Suns, I'm sure. But it's just like it's an homage to, just nature in and of itself. And it's got the red in the back and it's got the yellow in the front. So it's got Hawks colors mixed into it, but it's got to have orange if it's going to be a sunset.
Right.
And I like the fact that he almost posted a triple-double in them. So I guess I'll get to – and it's unreleased, so it's not open to the public. Well, it might be now. I don't know. I haven't heard any latest news on it. But getting to my list, I'm going to keep it very short and sweet because – my brother, Mr. Chase Jefferson, me and you are on the exact same page. I had a tough time deciding on what my top 3 because I also really like these right here. Not this. I actually really hate these shoes right here.
Yeah, I don't like the way they look at all. The camo at all. The cotton candy is really cool.
Well, I think it's kind of tough. It's also like showing respect to our military too. So.
Well, yeah, like absolutely. Yeah. Like for a military game, like sure, like yeah, absolutely. I love the idea behind it, but like just based on looks alone,
it doesn't look the best. I don't think he nailed the design.
I hate this color green right here. Absolutely hate that color green. But that's not what we're here talking about. I do love these two. The tie-dye ones and the cotton candy ones were very close to making for making my list, but I do like the sunsets a little bit more than both of those. But I am going to cut them. Aside from the reasons that I just explained, that's what I like about them. That's why they're my top 3. But they don't compare to my number 2 and Chase's number 2. These right here. And Chase, I figured you were going to say it, but to nobody's surprise, probably it is all for the exact same reasons. I think it pays beautiful homage, and it goes so great with the Hawks throwback jersey designs for the City Edition ones that had the throwback logo on it. And I think it just plays beautifully into the Hawks heritage a little bit because, the retro style that it has to it and even the jerseys that we have now that it has that bright yellow. That's what I think was really missing from the Hawks colorway a few years ago when we had that weird transition to the navy blue and then the lime green. They weren't horrible, but they were missing that bright yellow that really pays homage to the Hawks heritage there. And I think these shoes do that perfectly. And then, of course, I'm a sucker for baby blue. It fits Trae Young's persona because these are Trae Young's personalized shoes after all. And it's just like Ice Trae, Icy. It just goes together. He hits a little too cold celebration. These bad boys, and it's got opposing teams running for miles. You know what I mean? So, yeah, absolutely love those right there. But, and that's going to conclude this episode's edition of Start Bench Cut. And I think now it is time to hop into these trade talks, which I'm going to let either Joyner or Chase go first. I guess I'll let Chase go first since you sent yours in yesterday, and then I'll let Joyner explain the one he sent today. And then once you guys explain yours and we give our thoughts, I'll jump in and say my trade proposal. But Chase, you have leeway right now. You have the floor. You have the mic. Let's see what you got.
So I saw this when doing my little doom scrolling on Instagram, as I usually do, and I took a screenshot of the actual post itself, so I can't give credit where credit's due. I'm not too exactly sure where this trade proposal originated, but before I read this trade, you got to keep an open mind because there's two conflicting things about this trade.
It was Bleacher Report, by the way. It's just fill that in. It was Bleacher Report.
It says BF on the post.
That's Bleacher Report's Basketball Forever or whatever it is. But that's a Bleacher Report RAN account.
Got it. Okay. So that's the credit. So this trade, it would be to the Miami Heat, and Hawks fans obviously very dislike the Miami Heat for all these reasons: division rival, recent playoff history.
Tyler Hero. I'm sorry, I've called.
Yeah, Tyler Hero, exactly. So there's a lot of reasons. Just number one, why would we want to make a trade to the Miami Heat that would involve Trae Young? But now you got to look at the package we received because this is a package and a half. Some would maybe even consider this a fleece, but I also do understand that to get a guy like Trae Young, you're going to have to give up one heck of a package. And though I would throw up seeing Trae Young in a Heat jersey. I would absolutely love this package that we'd receive. So the only Trae Young, that's it. We'd only give the Heat Trae Young, and they would give us Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, Jamie Jacquez, Nikola Jovic, which is their first round pick 2 years ago, I believe.
Yeah.
P.A. Larson, a 2025 first-round pick, so that would give us 3 first-round picks this year, and then a 2030 first-round pick. And draft capital, you all have heard me rant about this for the past couple of episodes, ever since the abysmal trade deadline, that trade that we made to the Clippers. We are lacking trade capital. So anything that gives us an upper hand in trade capital for the upcoming years, especially up until 2029, I am a sucker for. So not only are we getting a bunch of young talent that I think have pretty high ceilings, we're getting another first-round pick that we can use to build our future. And we get one in 2030 where we don't have any draft capital. So there are just plenty of pluses. And it's at the expense of Trae Young, but we've already talked about the idea of just building around Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels, Aneke Kongwu, Zachary Richardson, maybe getting Karis LeVert back in, what else was I going to say? I feel like I was missing a key point there. Keaton Wallace, experimenting with Keaton Wallace more. So, losing Trae Young is already an idea this franchise has in mind this offseason. And we talked about it. If we're going to if Trae Young's going to walk, it better be by trade, whether this offseason or at the trade deadline, because I don't want to risk losing him in free agency and get nothing in return. So if we do go the route of trading Trae Young, though it's to the Miami Heat, this is one heck of a package. But what do y'all think?
Go ahead, Jordan. I'll let you go first.
I mean, like, you gave us some very good points. I just don't see I don't know. Because me personally, I don't think. I think that the team we have now can't compete for a championship. I just think that we just had too many injuries last season, and that's what hurt us. I think the injury to Jalen, and then the inconsistent lineups we had last season,
right?
And then trading DeAndre Hunter, Boogie Bogdanovic, and whoever else we traded, and then obviously there's badly ref games we had against the Magic late in the season that kind of screwed us over in the play-in tournament. But I don't think that we necessarily need to trade Trae Young. I seriously think that we have a championship, not maybe championship, but a playoff contending team. So I don't think we necessarily need to trade Trae Young.
I don't either. And I would love to keep Trae Young. The only thing I would be scared of is, let's say we don't trade this offseason, we don't trade him at the trade deadline, we make the playoffs, we make a good run, or we don't make a good run. And what if it's just another play-in year? And then his season's over, and then Trae Young's a free agent, and he doesn't re-sign. Then not only do we lose Trae Young, he walks away with wherever he wants, and we get nothing in return. So I would love it if Trae Young. Now, I think the only thing I could see is if we didn't decide to trade him in the offseason or the trade deadline, is that we make a really deep run in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden Trae Young sees the potential in this young core, and then he's like, man, maybe I should stick around, rock with what Atlanta's working with right now, what Quinn Snyder's building, and maybe I can win a championship here. Now, if that happens, then I think Trae Young could re-sign. But that would take – I think the only way Trae Young would re-sign in Atlanta is we would have to at least make the Eastern Conference Finals next year.
You have to remember that Trae Young spoke out recently on his podcast and other platforms as well. Shortly after the season ended, Trae Young openly spoke out on his interest and his desire to stay in Atlanta. So you got to remember right up front that Trae Young, his heart is in Atlanta. He's played 7 strong, competitive, sweat and tears through adversity, that all that kind of stuff. He's done that. He's exposed that. He's bought into that culture for 7 straight years. So his heart's in Atlanta. He's put all that effort and all that time into trying to build this city, this franchise from the ground up and take it somewhere where it's never been. So when you put 7 years of dedication to something like that, you don't want to just walk away from it. But it's getting repetitive in the wrong sense for Trae Young now, because again, his game has only gotten better. He's only gotten more efficient, but the team has either digressed or it's been at such a mediocre standstill that it's not enticing for him anymore. And like to Chase's point, that's the only way that Trae Young is going to have any other motivation to re-sign with an extension for the Hawks, either this offseason or the season after once he officially becomes a free agent. It's got to stay enticing for Trae Young. And to our credit, we have enticing young pieces like Jalen Johnson, like Onyeka Okongwu, like Keaton Wallace, like
Dyson Daniels.
Zachary Richese, like Dyson Daniels. So that is good for us Hawks fans and for the future of Trae Young potentially sticking around. That's a good thing. Now, again,
this season, assuming we use both those draft picks and not ship them off. But
which I'm assuming we will. And exactly like you said, we don't know what kind of products we're going to see out of this draft class, because Zachary, even though he was the number 1 overall pick, he was a little bit of a surprise because he turned out better than what most people thought he was going to his rookie season. So we've got those enticing pieces. And had a thought, but I kind of lost it. But yes. Going back to the trade, though, to play devil's advocate here, I'm going to look at this from the perspective of the Miami Heat. This trade, it offers a lot of potential to both teams. But if you're a Miami Heat fan, the number one thing that I would be concerned about for the Heat accepting this trade is the defensively challenged backcourt that you're going to have with Trae Young and Tyler Hero, because that's going to hinder Miami's defensive strategies by a landslide. Because Trae Young, if there's one thing that he's horrible at, is defending. But it's not his fault. It's not his fault. He's undersized, and that's just not a strong suit, which is completely fine. It's completely fine. But to the other side of the devil's advocate, it's going to significantly boost Miami's capabilities to make them a stronger contender in the East with their offensive, from an offensive standpoint. Because, I mean, they're going to be vulnerable on defense, but a Tyler Hero and Trent backcourt could be a dangerous thing in the Eastern Conference. And it's going to really – it's going to really – what?
I was trying not to cut you off. I was trying to catch you at a time. I was going to throw in, just imagine how nasty of a duo Trae Young and Bam would be.
Yes, in terms of the pick and roll lobs, absolutely. And it's good. And what the Miami Heat is essentially looking to do here with this trade is to somehow capitalize on the amount of depth that they have and get a quality guy like Trae Young in. And Atlanta wants to gain young talent and future picks to help reshape their roster. So that's the good side of the coin for both teams, but it does have their flaws. But now let me say this from a Hawks standpoint. Imagine because let's talk about depth in general. What does one thing do? What does depth do to teams essentially? Look at the Indiana Pacers. Look at the how far they've made it all the way to the NBA Finals, and that has a lot to do with the amount of depth that they have on that roster. Depth takes teams to far and hard to reach places. But what if the Hawks are not looking to make this trade for depth per se? What if the Hawks are looking to make this trade and ship everything that the Miami Heat sent our way, aside from the 2 draft picks? I think we've got to keep those either way, and ship all those players somewhere else and get a quality star in return? And what are two players on two teams that are about to hit the market? What do both of those teams have in common? They want to trade their star players for depth to reshape their roster and reshape their future. And those two stars are Giannis of the Milwaukee Bucks and Kevin Durant at the Phoenix Suns. Because there's one thing that the Suns have been lacking for years on end, and that is depth. And if the Milwaukee Bucks are going to get rid of Giannis, all they're going to want back is young core depth pieces that can help reshape the roster, and that's exactly what that package does.
If I'm not mistaken, oh wait, never mind. I take that back. Yeah, so you're right, and I think you're especially right about the Phoenix Suns. Their bench their bench hasn't been the same since they made a trip to the finals, and that's the reason they haven't been back since. Is because you can't just live on Kevin Durant and Devin Booker alone. That's what they try to do, even with Chris Paul. When those three, especially those two and Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, when they were on the bench, nobody the Suns were lacking. They were lacking any bit of urgency on offense. They were lacking defensive help. And their plus minus, when Kevin Durant and Devin Booker's plus minus was insane because that's how much effect they had in the game. And it got so bad that they had to punt Bradley Beal, a guy like Bradley Beal, on the bench just so they could have something. And that's a situation you never want to be in. So I think this is definitely something that the Phoenix Suns for sure would bite on, because I don't think the Hawks are just getting depth. They're getting talented depth, because I love Duncan Robinson will always be a consistent shooter. Terry Rozier has a lot to his game in terms of agility as well. I think both Jamie Jacquez and Nikola Jokic both have very high ceilings. I think at the most they can be very effective role players. So I think this is definitely just talent at your hands that you could pick and choose on how you want to use them. That's something the Suns would definitely be biting the bullet for. Milwaukee, maybe, depends on what they want to go. I'm not too confident they're going to get rid of Giannis. I actually think Giannis is going to be a Milwaukee Buck next year. I don't think they're going to get rid of Giannis. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But that's any other thoughts on this trade before we move on to joiners?
I got nothing.
All right, joiner, I guess we can move on to your proposal. What you got first, John?
Okay, so this would be a trade that the Hawks would be getting Colin Sexton and Jaden Springer. This is a three-team trade. It involves the Hawks, the Knicks, and the Jazz.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at it right now.
The Hawks would get Colin Sexton and Jaden Springer. That's it. The Knicks would receive John Collins, Walker Kessler, Svi Mikhailiuk, a 2025 second round pick from via Dallas, which I think that's the pick that Dallas sent to Utah in that Luka trade.
Maybe.
And then a 2029 second round pick from Utah, and then Utah would get Karl Anthony Towns, Terrence Mann, Amar 20, the pick that we have from the Lakers this year at 22.
Yeah.
First round pick, a 2026 first round pick from New York, and a 2020 second round pick via Detroit, Milwaukee, or Orlando from New York. So
my eyes are wide open at how let me put it to you this way. I think the Knicks would become the laughingstock of the league if they accept this trade. And
what a horrible trade.
Now you got to understand. Now in terms of the Hawks, I'll start with the Atlanta Hawks. Getting Colin Sexton and James Springer. Now this could be interesting. I love Colin Sexton, and if we are going to lose Trae Young, if we traded Trae Young, and then did a trade like this where we got Colin Sexton, I would be ecstatic. Now, Jaden Springer, I don't really know too much about him, to be honest. I don't really know how to feel about that. I'm just more concerned about Colin Sexton. Now, the Knicks, on the other hand, John Collins, yeah, that's cool. Walker Kessler, too. I love him, too. You get a couple draft capital, but it's just second-round picks. What alarms me is the Jazz getting Karl Anthony Towns, Terrence Mann, who was very effective off the bench, and you're getting first-round picks. Now, it's just, if I'm thinking in terms of New York, who were a couple games away from making the NBA Finals, and if you ask me, I blame Tom Thibodeau for the fact that the Knicks aren't in the Finals. I think Tom Thibodeau, I cannot stand how he gives out minutes, especially what he did to Karl Anthony Towns in Game 2 of that Pacers series. And you're giving a team like Utah, who already has why am I forgetting the guy from Duke? Kyle Filipowski, the guy that got from Duke. Lauri Markkanen. Why am I forgetting the other big man they have?
Is it the guy who's like dating Miss America?
Yes. So Walter Kessler would be gone. You're replacing him with Karl Anthony Towns. So that is automatically a front court that is just automatically insane, but it's unnecessary for New York. And it's not like John Collins would fill in any special hole that the Knicks need. Walker Kessler either. Karl Anthony Towns is not the problem. You're patching a hole that's not there for the Knicks. And I know we're supposed to be talking about what the Hawks get out of this. The Hawks would win this trade. I guess technically
the Jazz would win it.
The Jazz would, but I mean the Hawks give up practically nothing other than that second first round pick just to get Colin Sexton, and then we get the enjoyment of watching the Knicks screw themselves. So I mean, who's the real winner here? So I mean, I don't even know what to say. For the Hawks and the Jazz, absolutely. For the Knicks, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
From a Hawks standpoint, I would love nothing more than see that trade go through and watch New York burn their city to the ground. Because
and then watch First Take tomorrow and watch Stephen A. Smith absolutely lose his mind.
That might be Stephen A. Smith's last ever appearance on First Take because he'll get canceled because of things that he would say about that trade. I mean, first of all, you're not even talking about the 2026 first-round pick that they would be shipping off with Karl Anthony Towns. And that 2026 first-round pick, aside from all the pieces they got from that Timberwolves trade, is the only remaining asset that they have for their future. And why would you want to get that away and worsen your defense and initially halt any progress you have of making it back to the Eastern Conference Finals and making a push past the Eastern Conference Finals? And that would crumble that franchise up. Now, for the Hawks, it's interesting. I mean, obviously, swapping out Terrence Mann, though I don't hate Terrence Mann by any means necessary, swapping Terrence Mann out for Colin Sexton would absolutely be the ultimate firepower move for the Hawks to make.
And if we got Colin Sexton, Trae Young's gone. That would be confirmed.
Yeah.
Well, yes. All right. And because you got to remember that the Hawks finish top 5 in the NBA on most points per game. So if you add Colin Sexton to that roster, obviously we'd be shipping Trae Young off. But Colin Sexton shot over 40% from deep for 3 straight seasons now. So this is consistently efficient basketball they're seeing from Colin Sexton. And last season, he averaged about 5 3-point attempts per game. So he's not afraid to let that puppy fly. And we've seen in that Hawks game back in Utah that ended in a Trae Young half-court buzzer beater that Colin Sexton is very calm and collective in the clutch, and he can come through for you when you need him to. And he adds a lot of playmaking to a roster that's been very dependent on playmaking that we've seen through Trae Young. And, I mean, honestly, we love Trae Young's dish out assist to Jalen Johnson, but why not throw in Colin Sexton in there, who had 25% total assists for that Utah Jazz team. He averaged, I mean, he's not averaging like 13, 12 assists like Trae Young is, but he's averaging 5 assists a game, which, isn't horrible. And he's very athletic. He showcases a lot of hustle on the court. And, I mean, on defense, he's pretty neutral, but, I mean, Colin Sexton would honestly be a step above Trae Young because Trae Young's on the lower tier end of defensive abilities for starting guards. But And Springer is a very young piece. He's not even – I think he's only 22 years old or something like that. And he's got a lot of defensive tools that the Hawks could use on that roster. And you grab that package. You throw what's the dude's name again? What's Springer? What's his first name?
Jaden Springer.
Yeah, you throw Jaden Springer over in College Park and let him have a few games over in College Park to get things rolling and then see what he does there and then bring him in to that group with Colin Sexton. I like it. I like it a lot. I think in the grand scheme of things, like you said, Chase, the Jazz would obviously win that trade, but I do like what it does for that Hawks team. So absolutely I would hop on that trade. But what about you, Jordan?
Me or Chase?
You, Jordan.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like you said, if we do get Sexton, then yeah, the Trae Young is 100% like gone. But I want to go back to something you said about Colin Sexton's like assist stats, like. Think about it this way: like he didn't have nearly as much help in Utah that he would have at absolutely. All I would have is Lowry and John Collins, really.
That's and John Collins, yeah.
It's like Trae Young, he had Jalen Johnson, Zachary. Dyson in some games would be a good shooter. Some nights,
Bogdanovich.
The guys off the bench like George Niang, Karis LeVert. Yeah. That's a lot more like shooting and scoring weapons than Colin Sexton would have in Utah. So
absolutely.
I don't really think that Colin Sexton is a better pass. I'm not saying Trey. I'm not saying Colin Sexton. Sexton's passing is the exact same or better than Trae Young. I'm just saying he could have that same effect in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, and I completely agree. And while you're saying that, Joyner, it just kind of made me think of something. You know how the Hawks could easily win the trade deadline? Imagine we did this. Imagine this trade did happen, and we got Colin Sexton and Jane Springer, and then we did the trade with the Miami Heat. And we gave Trae Young for that package. So not only are you just replacing Trae Young with Colin Sexton, but now all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of bench depth that you could either keep and use, which I would recommend, and I think that would make the Hawks an instant dark horse in the Eastern Conference, or you could ship off all or some of those pieces to get another superstar that we could pair with Colin Sexton. But also, because as you can see included in this trade, is that the Utah Jazz would get our number 22 first-round pick via LA. But then if we did that trade with Miami, we would instantly get that first-round pick back. So essentially, we still get 2 first-round picks that we could use to continue to build upon our young core.
Well, it's you get the best of both worlds if we did that, Chase. Because if you do the Colin Sexton trade and you ship Trae Young off to Miami for that package, you can't have a 13-man NBA roster with all those. So you would have to package a group of people up and ship them off just so you could have room on your roster, and therefore you get that superstar piece. So
that's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have, especially when you're in the position the Hawks are in. But I'm going to go ahead and throw my.
I was going to say, at face value, there's good and bad to both these trades. But if they both happen, they go hand in hand. It's a beautiful outcome for the Atlanta Hawks, and we get the expense of laughing at New York. Who doesn't want that?
It's going to be more likely, if we're talking about realism, that the Miami Heat trade happens over this one. Because for the Hawks' sake or the Jazz sake, the Knicks would never. I mean, as much as I hate the Knicks, I hope
I don't know, man. The Knicks have made some terrible moves in the past.
I hope that front office is not dumb enough to press the go button on that trade alert. But I'm going to go and talk about mine. Now, I will say that mine is not nearly as intense as yours, but I do like it a lot for the Atlanta Hawks. So it's a 3-team trade that involves the Hawks, the Cavaliers, and the Golden State Warriors. So starting off with Golden State would receive Jarrett Allen, Gorgeous Niang, a 2025 second-round pick, a 26 second-round pick, a 29 second-round pick, and a 31 second-round pick. So Golden State's getting Allen, Niang, and a crap ton of second-round picks in the future.
That's already beautiful for Golden State.
Yes, especially the Jarrett Allen part. The Cleveland Cavaliers would receive – the Cavaliers receive – what's that, Joiner?
I'm just saying that the Golden State needs a true big. Draymond Green's not cutting it.
They can't keep playing small ball.
Yeah, no.
Now, the Cavaliers would receive one of the Warriors' remaining big men, Jonathan Kuminga, which I really do like Jonathan Kuminga, by the way.
Yeah, too.
And it would take that 4-year, $85 million contract off the Warriors' back. Because remember, they did sign him for a 4-year, $85 million contract. And then they would get a 27 second-round pick. The Hawks, the only downside about this trade, the Hawks won't be receiving any draft picks, which is something that I do agree that we need. So that is the one downside. But from a player package perspective, we would receive Moses Moody and Dean Wade. Those are the only 2 players we get, but there's a reason why I love this trade so much. Because I am a big fan of Moses Moody, and I think Moody
Arkansas.
He is an Arkansas man, so I already know you like him, Joiner. But Moses Moody would significantly help the Hawks' need for more shooting. And I know that sounds weird to say because Trajan does jack up a lot of shots. But what I mean by that is more efficient shooting, because he's coming off the best shooting percentage year of his career, shooting 37% from deep. And just like Colin Sexton, he averages about 5 3-point shot attempts per game, and he averaged about 10 points per game. So he's very reliant, very efficient, and now he's not really reliant on the 3-point shot per se, but he is a solid defender with a freaking massive wingspan, which is something the Hawks really need in terms of interior defense. And he's really solid on both sides of the court. And he's a secured player. He's under contract for the next 3 years, so we'd have liability on him for the next 3 years. And in terms of Dean Wade, he adds good front court depth to the Atlanta Hawks. He offers a lot of floor spacing, which is something that the Hawks don't really have because that falls under team chemistry. But his real value falls under defending, so you get a boost in defense from both Moses Moody and Dean Wade, and he's a good rebounder, which we can all agree the Hawks need rebounding. And another thing that the Hawks lack on, which really showed up in the both playing games between the Heat and the Magic, is perimeter defense is something Dean Wade does especially well on. And he's just all in all a positive piece to have in a rotation that unfortunately cannot stay healthy. So again, it's not as intense as the Oz guys trade, but I think it's definitely a realistic trade that could happen.
I about to say,
especially from the Hawks' perspective, we would not win that trade. I think Golden State easily by far wins that trade.
Oh,
absolutely.
Sure. Absolutely. But I just want the Hawks. If anything else, I just want the Hawks to improve on defense. Because, like I said earlier, we finished 5th in the NBA on points per game. Offense, not a problem. If we had a top 10 defense in the NBA, my goodness, we might be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right? I think that's what Joyner was kind of alluding to when he said that the Hawks have a championship team per se. Because offensively, we absolutely do. It's just defense is just not there, and that's what's keeping us in a state of mediocrity. I will say, in terms of out of all the three trades that we mentioned, I think Andrew's yours is the most realistic because it works for all teams, especially the Golden State Warriors. That's a trade that fills in their needs perfectly. And I think something of that sort is definitely what the Warriors are aiming for this offseason. The Cavaliers get a couple help as well. Kuminga is I think the Cavs would be more than happy taking that contract into their hands, especially with where the Cavs are now. That could be a huge asset for them right out the gate since they're losing Jared Allen. So that's already a big plus for them. And the Hawks, too. Like you said, Moody is definitely a very consistent shooter. And if a Hawks made a trade like this, that definitely wouldn't be where they'd stop. That'd be more like a start. This would be like a little side trade that the Hawks would make. More notably for the Cavs and the Warriors, but obviously the Hawks would get a couple of help as well. Most notably Moses Moody. So that wouldn't be where the Hawks stop. They would definitely turn this trade into something else or move forward with this trade.
Which I would hope so because, like I said too, is the one downside is that this didn't involve any draft picks, which is something I think we do need.
If Landry Fields, oh my gosh, since he just messed up every bit of draft capital the Hawks had with that Bogey Bogdanovich trade, I would hope the front office is one of their top priorities, is especially if they do decide to trade Trae Young, is to get as much draft capital as they can. So I don't even care if we do that this offseason, but we better do it this deadline at least. That's a trade that I have no offense against. I don't have any problem with that trade. It's nothing but positive for the Hawks. There's no decline in that trade. Niang would be a player I hate to lose. I love Niang, and he would be a baller for the Warriors. But I understand that Niang isn't like a guy we're desperately trying to hold on to this offseason. If he's on the team next year, that's great. But if the opportunity arises to trade in for some key pieces, we'll definitely do that. So, in terms of realism and realistic ability, I think yours definitely win.
But shout out to Sports Illustrated. I didn't make that trade on my own. That was one that I saw from Sports Illustrated's Instagram page. So shout out to you, Sports Illustrated.
Look, I want to point out the trade that me and Joyner stated, there was some good and bad to it. But your trade, Andrew, is really not any bad for any party. For both the Warriors, Cavs, and the Hawks, there's really no bad. It's all good. So that is a very even 3-team trade.
Yep, I agree.
So,
do you have any thoughts on it, Joyner?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I think Chase said. I think. Okay. I think there really is no I think there really is no bad side to your trade at all. I think the Warriors get what they need. They need it big, and they get some extra draft picks. The Hawks get more depth and stuff, and then the Cavs get the Cavs get something that they need. So yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, I guess to wrap up this episode, because we are. It is relevant. It starts this Thursday. Just really quick. I'm just curious to know, and I'm sure it's calling you. Excuse me. Thank you. Sorry, I felt that sneeze coming from a mile away, but I couldn't figure out when it was coming. I don't know where Chase went, but Joyner, I guess we'll start with you. We got the Pacers and the Thunder NBA Finals starting this Thursday. What a refreshing final this is. You talk about the amount of parity that is growing around the NBA. We're getting our 7th consecutive new not new champion, but non-repeated champion, and it's two franchises that have never won an NBA. Well, I don't know if the Pacers have won one. I know the Thunder has it. Okay, I didn't think so. So two franchises who have never won an NBA Finals, and you're going to have so much aura, so much drama between SGA, the new MVP, and Tyrese Halliburton, who has been on a tear this postseason and really solidifying a name for himself in Indiana, and Pascal Siakam, who won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, which is a little controversial to some people. I think Siakam was a better player, but I can understand why people think Halliburton should have won it because he was the more clutch player, the front runner for that team. But I'm really excited. I really hope this series goes to 7 games because I think it deserves 7 games. But I want to hear y'all's predictions on it. Who do you think is going to come out on top?
Go ahead, Jordan.
I mean, I really think it's gonna be the Thunder. I mean, they're clearly the better team in my opinion. That's like that's like extremely obvious. I mean, because they have the running of the current MVP, and I mean Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and they're just a very much completed team. Now, I think the only way that the Indiana takes us deep and takes us to maybe 6 or 7, and you're gonna have this is if Caitlin Clark is in attendance for each home game because this is real for every playoff game that Caitlin Clark is attending for the Pacers. The Pacers have won. The Pacers have won. So if she is in attendance for those games, they could win.
They could, and shout out to Mr. Halliburton, Halliburton's dad. Of course, he was at Game 6 because they finally let him back into
free.
He was free. His restriction from the stadium was revoked, and he was definitely in attendance. And he was still waving that flag, but he was a little higher up. They didn't let him on the court. But yeah, you're absolutely right about Caitlin Clark. They're going to need that Clark magic. Now, here's my prediction. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I think the Thunder wins in 6, but I think they could win in 5. I think this has the potential to be a pretty ugly series.
I don't want it to be a sweep. I don't like seeing sweeps or nothing like that.
I feel like this finals could very well be like last year's, and it's nothing against Halliburton or Siakam. I just don't necessarily think that they match up well. I think
right, yeah. Like I was saying, the Thunder, they're a very complete team.
They are, and the Pacers, I think they're the quickest team in the NBA, and I think if this game goes to 6, it would be because the Pacers can keep up the pace with the Thunder. But I just think in terms of just chemistry, because you got to think about the Pacers definitely had some games against the Knicks that could have easily gone the other way. Most notably Game 1, and of course Game 5 was very ugly. And I think in terms of that, it was because they got a little static on defense. I think there's a couple of times where they missed their mark, they missed their man, and I think again, with a team like the Thunder, you can't do that. SGA, they're all going to make you pay. Chet Holmgren too. He's had an incredible postseason, and I think I don't know, it's just. I'll have to see how Game 1 goes. Game 1 is going to say a lot about the direction of the series, but I just don't think they match up well. So that's kind of my point. But
and you're absolutely right. The Thunder, they're obviously the force to be reckoned with here. They're honestly the favorites. I think the clear favorites. They had the 3rd best offensive rating throughout the entire regular season. But I'm not even worried about the offense if I'm Indiana. It is the defense that carries that horse on a nightly basis. They had like almost a 110 defensive rating, which is an extremely huge wide margin for any stretch of the imagination. They had the most steals by any team in the NBA. Matter of fact, they were the only NBA team that plays double-digit steals on a nightly basis. Not nightly, maybe nightly basis. I don't know. I don't know how far that average stretches, but they had the second most blocks in the entire NBA, and they allowed the fewest points off turnovers and fast break points in the entire NBA. So they're a team that punishes you when you slip up, but they're a team that won't be punished when they slip up. Right. But then again, I'm not taking anything away from this Pacers team. I think they're very deep. I think they play with a lot of grit and a lot of deep. And I genuinely believe this would be a good series. I think you're right, Chase. I think it's going to take a lot of maybe some more last few minute comeback winners from Indiana. A lot of down the stretch toughness from that team. But I love the interior defense presence that Pascal Siakam presents, and I think he's a great matchup for guys like Chet Holmgren. And I love this Pacers bench. I do have the Thunder winning in 6. That is my prediction, but I really hope it goes to 7.
No, I do. I'm just going to throw this bold say right now. If the Hawks play their cards right this offseason, we could be next year's Indiana Pacers.
100%. I completely agree. If the chips fall in the right place, I think you're right.
Now, there is one more reason why I am going against Indiana in this, and it is because one of their assistant coaches was a very bad Hawks coach.
Lloyd Pierce.
Oh, Lloyd Pierce. I forgot he was on the staff.
Lloyd Pierce.
I forgot he was on the staff.
Yeah, so.
You know what? That just adds fuel to the fire, Joyner.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, also, Trae Young is from Oklahoma.
He is. He's from Oklahoma. So are y'all pulling for the Thunders? Like, aside from y'all's predictions, are y'all pulling for the Thunders to win? I want the Pacers to win. Oh gosh, I think Chase is raging, you guys. I think he's developing into the anger stage of his. Oh my gosh, here it comes. I didn't think it was gonna happen this quick. I thought maybe it'd be an overnight thing, but I'm afraid that Chase is full rampage now. But Chase, don't worry. You're gonna get through this. It's necessary for you to reach the acceptance stage. It's okay. We understand. We're going to give you your space. Don't worry. I get it. Are you there, Chase?
What?
Oh my gosh! What is that? Perry the platypus? What? Where's his head? Oh my gosh! This is abuse. He's abusing Perry the platypus with a pool stick. I don't know what's happening. I'm at a loss for words. Actually, I don't know how to move on.
Show, what are you doing?
I don't know how to move on from this. Wow.
Right. Okay. Right now we're definitely gonna get freaking age restriction.
Yeah, kids. Kids, close your eyes. This is not good for our younger audience, Chase.
What are you doing? You're gonna give some kids PTSD.
Snap out of it, Chase. Snap out of it. Here, I'm coming to the rescue. Don't worry.
Okay. Oh no. So yeah, guys, let us know y'all's finals predictions. Is he okay?
Sit down, Chase. It's okay. It's okay. No, we're here for you. We're here for you. Okay.
We love you, Chase. We love you.
I do. Okay. I'll be okay. I'll be okay.
It's okay.
I'll be okay. You're right. I need to let off some steam. I needed that.
Yeah. Just maybe next time don't kill Perry the platypus.
I don't know why.
Why'd you bring Perry into this?
I just, kind of like, Perry was just chilling in the corner. I need to hit somebody, and Perry was just wrong place, wrong time.
Kiss and makeup. It's only right. There we go. Well, guys, interesting way to wrap off the episode. I was not expecting that. I'm sure many of you guys were thrown off by it as well. But thank you guys for tuning in to episode 30 of the podcast. We talked a lot about trade proposals. All you GMs out there who is listening to this podcast,
you've heard our advice. We are not like actual GMs. We do not know what we're talking about. Do not take it seriously, please.
Oh, but we are. Especially if the New York Knicks GM is listening.
Oh, yes, please.
Take that trade.
No. Hire us for the Knicks front office. Please, we will bring We will bring a team. We will bring a team in the NBA championship next season. We promise.
We got you. You heard our words.
Jalen Brunson will not be traded 100%.
No, yeah, of course. Why would we do that?
And you know what? We'll keep Josh Hart in there as well. Why not? We'll keep him in there.
And Cameron Payne. Why not?
We'll make Spike Lee very proud to wear orange. And Stephen A. Smith love his job even more.
Even though I don't like orange, I'll do it just for them.
And we'll make everybody wear those sunset shoes.
Yeah.
So don't worry. We got you.
We're Knicks pumps kidding. I'm not going to say that.
Oh, yeah. I better end this podcast before we say something we regret. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Like always, we're getting closer and closer and closer to NBA draft night. But the closer we get, the more we're going to talk about it. We will see you guys for episode 31.